Hello, welcome back to This Week in Housing. My name is Sarah Eggleston. I'm with John L. Scott, and I am here to bring you this week's updates in the King County housing market. I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into it here, share my screen. So again, this is This Week in Housing. Jay Inslee did just talk a few minutes ago. There we go. And he announced his Safe Start by county by county phased reopening plan. I'll have more details about that for you next week because, like I said, it just happened. So I will look into that and get you some more details next week. But as of right now, well, as of yesterday, this is what was going on county by county. As you can see, King, Pierce, Snohomish, anywhere around King is pretty much in phase one and will stay that way for a little bit. Nearby Thurston and Lewis have moved into, and Kittitas have moved into phase two. So that's pretty good news. It means that those counties are seeing progress in their coronavirus numbers, and that things are, I don't know, getting a little bit safer, I guess. And so the phase two modifications, I touched on this a bit last week. Real estate firms will now, for those counties in phase two, real estate firms may now open their offices in a limited fashion. So this means that you'll be able to go into the office and meet with a real estate agent in a meeting room or whatever. There's social distancing practices need to be observed. So it depends on the size of the building, I guess, how many people can be in there. But you'll be able to go to a real estate office and meet with a broker. You might start to see some in-person classes coming out soon. I haven't seen that yet. Most people are sticking to webinars, and I think the class size would have to be pretty limited if you did it in person. So right now it's just basically opens it up to small meetings inside a real estate office. Commercial brokers are able to go after it. Commercial brokers weren't allowed to do work in phase one. 3 people are allowed on site for permitted in-person real estate activities. So house showings, you can have the broker and 2 additional people in the home at the same time, or broker, buyer, and an inspector. As long as there's no more than 3 people in the building or on property at the time, it's okay. So that makes it a lot easier, because a lot of times it's 2 people buying a home together, and it's nice to be able to go in the home together and talk about what you see in real time rather than going through one at a time and talking about it later. And sign installers may install real estate signs. So the post that goes in front of the house, those can go back in. And Seattle Times put out an article earlier this week saying that Seattle area home price growth was second only to one other U.S. city during the early in the pandemic. So we are second to Phoenix right now for home price growth, but this is showing that especially here in Seattle, our market is remaining pretty strong, especially in comparison with the rest of the nation. Another one, I was pretty excited to see this article. Mortgage rates hit another all-time low as home buyers rush to secure cheap financing. So, wow, the rates are crazy right now. They've been really low for a very long time. And then the coronavirus thing hit and it went way down on the rates, which is a good thing. And the number of people applying for loans to purchase a home has increased for 6 consecutive weeks after falling earlier in the coronavirus outbreak. So this means that buyer activity is there. There's a lot of buyers that are interested in transacting. They're getting pre-approved, they're going and seeing houses, getting under contract. But this here, the number of people applying for loans, is kind of a leading indicator of what we will see next month in our overall numbers. As far as our local numbers this week, for residential, we had 554 new listings, and you can see the pendings far outweighed that again. And for condos, though, we actually had 181 condos and only 177 pending. So the condo market, it seems like there's a little bit more, there's more listings coming on the market and lower demand as compared to residential. If we combine those, 737 737 new listings came on the market in the last 7 days, and just over 1,000 went pending. And if we break that into, this is a chart from all the data that I presented in these boxes each week. And you can see there was actually a slight drop from last week on new listings coming on market and listings pending. And that is my hypothesis with that, is it's mainly to do with the Memorial Day weekend. So people weren't out looking at homes as much because they were spending time with their family. So this is data from Showing Time. This is showing buyer activity, so the key entries into the home. The dark line is last year, and then the orange line is this year. And you can see that showings had been steadily rising since early April. And this week we took a little bit of a dip, but again, that just shows that people were not shopping for homes over the holiday weekend as much. And this one was interesting, very interesting to me. This came from Seattle Times, sourced by the Northwest MLS. But pending sales actually rose this week above where it was in 2019. So pending sales, this is, again, one of our leading indicators of what's happening in the market. Homes go pending before they sell. So we watch pendings pretty closely to track how hot the market is and how fast homes are selling. So we actually did pass last year's number on pending sales in Western Washington. So that was surprising and exciting. New pending sales month over month is actually up 40%. New listings taken is up 37, almost 38% from last month. And this is Zillow's report that came out earlier today. And their chief economist says that sales are forecasted to recover almost fully by the end of the year. And we're already seeing that. I mean, at least in our area, the pending sales passed what there were last year. We're just lacking listings, so we'll see how long we can keep that up for, if we can get new listings to come on the market and satisfy that buyer demand. So I'm trying to look at weekly data. It's a lot harder to collect than they don't make the big reports that they do for monthly data every week. So it's important to keep in mind when you look at monthly data, you're looking at historical data. It's not totally current. It's 3-4 weeks old. And so you have to look at those pendings to know what is closing right now. We know that the faster move, this is a quote from the chief economist of First American, monthly data looks back 3 to 4 weeks is old news. We know that we know from the faster moving data, mortgage applications, showings, bidding wars, that April was really the trough, I think, for the housing market. The existing home sales numbers reflect that now, but we do expect the rebound to be quite strong in the May numbers, and will come out in June. They say at the end of June. There's some stats come out mid June, so the first couple weeks of June, I am excited to see what happens stats-wise for May. So I'll have those numbers for you next week as well. So this is a quick look at unemployment. The orange is cumulative new filings. So this is like everybody cumulative since the beginning of the pandemic. The blue is currently collecting unemployment. So these are people that are currently collecting. And the difference between the two, a lot of people have gone back to work, either gone back to their job or found a new job, either temporary or permanent. There's a lot of jobs. There's like Amazon and Walmart and like all these retail businesses that do the deliveries and things. They're hiring a lot of people because their demand is up. So we're seeing a lot of relief for people that were out of work, and that's really exciting to see. And 75% of those, according to a survey of the employers, 75% of the jobs that are 75% of the temporary layoffs, or 75% are temporary layoffs and furloughs. So 75% of the people that got laid off will go back to work in their previous job. So that's good to see. Although when they did the interview of the employees, the number was a lot higher. It was closer to 90% thought they were going back to the same job. So there's a little bit of a disparity there. But based on what the employers say, about 75% or at least 75% will come back to work. And as far as heading out of this little recession dip, the housing industry has often led the economy out of recession. This has been true many times over, because recessions have led to a decline in interest rates, which we're seeing, that lowers the borrowing costs for both home buyers and builders, which makes home buying more attractive and spurs home building and many related durable consumer good industries that drive GDP growth. So people buying homes and building homes, that's really going to be one of the main things that pulls our economy out of this little hole that we're in right now. So it's good to see. And to wrap it up, but just another reminder, if you are a homeowner or know of a homeowner that is struggling to make mortgage payments, I have a website up on a tab up on my webpage, eggleston.johnlscott.com/homeowner-help. And this little guide talks about protecting your investment, and there is some incredibly valuable information in here. So if you are at risk of maybe missing some payments, or you know someone that is, please make sure to share this information with them. It can save them a lot of pain and headache down the road if you know what you're getting into. And if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My phone number and email are on the screen there. You can always message me, Facebook, email, call, text, whatever. I love to talk about real estate, so I would love to talk about what's going on in your area. Go ahead and thank you so much for joining me this week. I will be back again next week. Don't forget to tune in on Thursday as well at 2 p.m. I will announce the next contest. Little quarantine contest, some just a little fun for you. And there'll be a $50 gift certificate to a local restaurant. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next week, and have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend. See you next week.